The storm came without warning. Thunder rolled across the valley and lightning cracked the sky open like a wounded beast. James had been working late in his isolated cabin at the edge of the forest, repairing his old radio, when a knock came at the door. First he thought it was the wind. Then again there it was, a soft but insistent rapping. Cautiously, he stepped to the door and cracked it open. His breath caught. Standing there was a woman unlike any he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly in the stormlight, not human but radiant. Her form was slender, her movements graceful yet hesitant. Her hair clung to her shoulders in wet strands, and her only garment was a torn cloth that barely covered her. She looked lost. "Please," she said in a voice that was almost musical. "I need shelter." James hesitated. The rational part of his mind screamed danger. But something in her eyes, wide, pleading and alien, struck a deep chord in him. Without thinking, he stepped aside. "Come in." She stepped across the threshold like a creature stepping into another world. The storm roared outside, rain pounding the roof, and the scent of ozone filled the air. She shivered, and James offered her his coat. She accepted it silently, her strange eyes glimmering with gratitude. Inside he lit a fire. She sat quietly, her gaze fixed on the dancing flames. James studied her carefully. She was unlike anything in human memory. Her skin a shifting shade of silver, her movements fluid as if gravity bent differently for her. "Where are you from?" he asked gently. Her lips curved faintly. "Far away. I was not expecting to land here." Her voice trembled. "My ship, it was destroyed." James felt an uneasy mixture of curiosity and compassion. "Can you fix it?" She shook her head. "No, not. I need rest, shelter, and warmth." He nodded. Without questioning further, he brought her a blanket and some tea. She drank silently, then spoke again. "Thank you, human." Her voice lingered strangely in the air. Hours passed. The storm outside became a distant drumbeat. James felt a strange calm in her presence, as if time itself slowed. She rose and moved closer to the fire, watching him with intent eyes. "I must ask," James said cautiously, "why you're here wearing nothing but that cloth?" She looked down, then back at him. "When my vessel fell, my garments were destroyed. This was all I could salvage. My people wear the cloth of survival." She paused, her voice almost breaking. "It does not matter here. But to me, it matters." Something in her tone struck James. This was no ordinary stranger asking for shelter. There was weight in her words, an unspoken story of loss, exile, and survival. He cleared his throat. "You can stay here as long as you need. It's just, the night is long and you should be safe inside." Her eyes softened, and she gave him a faint nod. They sat in silence, listening to the storm outside, the crackle of the fire filling the void. Hours later she rose again, walking toward the window. Her form glistened in the firelight. "I should leave before dawn," she whispered. But her gaze met his lingering. "You have shown me kindness I do not forget." James nodded, unsure of what to say. Before he could speak, she stepped closer, her presence filling the room. "I will go, but not without gratitude." Her hand brushed his arm, gentle, electric. He felt warmth and something unnameable. She turned toward the door, but before leaving, she placed something in his palm, a small crystal glowing faintly. "For protection," she said softly. "For remembering." And with that she stepped into the storm. James opened the door, but she had vanished. The wind carried only the echo of her voice and the faint scent of something beyond the world. James stood there for a long moment, staring at the darkened forest. In his hand, the crystal pulsed softly. He tucked it into his pocket. That night he could not sleep. The memory of her eyes, her voice, and her strange grace lingered. The storm had passed, but something inside him had changed. He realized she had not only sought shelter, she had left behind a part of herself. Years later, James would still wake on stormy nights, wondering if she might return. The crystal remained in his pocket, glowing faintly, a reminder that somewhere beyond the stars she existed and that one night he had given her shelter. And perhaps that night had given him something too. Hours passed. The storm outside softened into a steady rain, and the fire crackled in the silence. She rose, moving toward the window, her silver skin shimmering in the flickering light. "I should leave before dawn," she whispered. Her voice carried a strange sadness. "But you have shown me kindness I do not forget." James felt an unfamiliar pull in his chest. "Will you be all right?" he asked quietly. She turned to him, her eyes lingering on his. "I will survive," she said softly. Then she stepped closer, her presence radiating warmth. Her hand brushed his arm, gentle but electric. James felt a strange rush, a mix of wonder and something deeper he could not name. Before leaving, she pressed something into his palm, a small crystal glowing faintly with shifting light. "For protection," she murmured. "For remembering." He opened the door to see her step into the rain. Lightning flashed, and before he could call her back, she vanished into the storm. Only her voice lingered, carried on the wind, soft and haunting. James stood at the threshold long after the rain ceased. The forest was quiet, the storm gone, but in his hand the crystal pulsed gently, as if alive. He tucked it into his pocket, a silent promise to remember. That night sleep eluded him. Her eyes, her voice, her presence haunted him. Somewhere far beyond the stars she still existed. And for one night she had sought refuge with him, changing him forever. Years later, when storms returned, James would still awaken with the memory of her knock at his door. And the crystal in his pocket would still glow faintly, whispering of an alien kindness he had once sheltered and had never forgotten. The end.